It is your classic metal show right here on the classicmetalshow.com. Starting off the show, we heard something from a little blast from the past. Our good friend, former bassist for Lynyrd Skynyrd, Ean Evans, along with Bobby Capps of 38 Special, put out a CD, I believe it was way back in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. And
right.
It was called Evans Caps, and it was called Hell If I Know. And we just heard something from Great White featuring Jack Russell on lead vocal with Fast Road. And taking the fast road from the bedroom to the mic is my good friend and partner, Chris Aiken. What's going on, Chris?
What is up, sir? What possessed you to play music from the dead tonight?
I don't know. I was kind of feeling a little nostalgic today and kind of doing a little reflecting and people that I've known or people I've had associations with. And,
sure.
You know, Ian was so good to both of us.
He was.
And he was especially good to me, hooking me up several times over like a 3 or 4 year period there. Whenever he was in the region, anywhere within the region, say within 100 miles, he would call me and say, "Hey, we're playing so-and-so. You coming down?"
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, come on out. Lynyrd Skynyrd going to be taking the stage about 9:30.
That's exactly right. And he hooked me up big time on several occasions. He hooked me up for the Taste of Chicago when Lynyrd Skynyrd played the Taste of Chicago and put me front row center for that show. That was the first time I ever met the guy.
Sure.
Then after the show was over, he invited me up to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in downtown Chicago at the Water Tower place, and I sat at the bar having drinks with him and the lovely Carol Chase, who was one of the backup singers for Lynyrd Skynyrd. I was sitting at the bar with Ian and getting to know him a little bit because he had made a interview on the show. He'd come on the show with Bobby Capps, and there was a time where they actually called us live on the show out of the blue where the Lynyrd Skynyrd bus was going down the road and they were listening to the CMS in the bus.
That's right. I remember that.
But I was getting to know Ian at that point, and I was sitting there. I go, "Hey, that your backup singer, Carol Chase." He goes, "Yeah, what about her?" I said, I got a little thing for her. And he goes, "Really?" He goes, "Carol?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I think she's pretty sexy." He goes, "You want to meet her?" And I go, "Yeah." So he gets on the cell phone and calls her down, and she comes down. And he goes, I want you to meet somebody who's a real big fan of yours, you know. And she sat next to me, and we had a few drinks, and she let me take a real up close and personal picture. She kind of stood between my knees there and let me put my arms around her and put my head on her shoulder like I was kissing her neck.
Nice.
She was a good sport about it.
Come on, did you hit that?
No, I didn't hit it, but I would have.
I know you would have. I remember you were all pumped up about that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, she for an older girl, she was pretty smoking. And
by old, I mean what? About 30?
No, she was. Well, you know, and here I'll tell you a funny story that I learned just watching TV.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Any Which Way. I think it was Any Which Way But Loose, the Clint Eastwood movie.
Okay.
And there was a scene in the movie, or it was in the credits or something, and it was some country honky tonk style song.
Okay.
It was something she sang on as a solo artist back in the 70s.
So you pulled your cock out and just started.
but I saw the credits roll up on the screen, sung by Carol Chase, sung by Carol. I was like, holy shit! I had no idea.
Yeah, so you rewound it like 15 times.
So then he later that summer they were playing over here at the Porter County Fair, and he called me up. He says, "Hey, we're playing at a place called the Porter County Fair. Is that anywhere near you?" I said, "Yeah, that's like 3 minutes from my house." Well,
come on out, buddy. Come on out.
That's exactly right. He's like, "Well, we're staying down here at the Hampton. You know where that's at?" I said, "Yeah, that's just down the street from me." He goes, "Yeah, we're down there. Come on down. Go on to the show with us." You know, so I went down and met up with them and went to the show.
Sure.
And then I think Jim Bob actually came with me on that one.
Okay.
And then, I got to see Carol again. And then, what was it? They were playing at a place that's got torn down here in the last year or two. It was called the Star Theater in Maryville.
Okay.
And, of course, he called me again. Hey, we're playing at the Star Theater. Is that near you again? I said, yeah, that's like 15 minutes from the house. Come on over. I got you set up, So I went down there. He had me these VIP. They had this like VIP lounge over there.
Right.
Yeah, he had me VIP tickets, second row center.
Nice. Yeah, he took care of me and my son as well. I mean, we were maybe 4 rows back or something. We were real close too when he hooked us up. And then the best part was, my kid was little at the time, and I mean, it was great. We ended up just sitting at the table with Lynyrd Skynyrd. It was kind of like that whole Doc and Rat thing that we did, where we all just sat around eating.
Sure.
But this was like with the Skynyrd guys. It was like all the Skynyrd guys, and there's like, 35 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And then me and my son Zach just sitting at a table, eating dinner with Lynyrd Skynyrd and shooting the shit. It was great.
Yeah. And then another one, they were playing over at Fort Wayne, and he had me come out to that, and that was the last show before they were taking like a Christmas break or something.
Right.
And so the principals were flying out. So Gary Rosington and
Barnes, what's his name? Jimmy Barnes or whatever.
Van Zandt. Johnny Van Zandt.
Van Zandt, yeah.
Yeah. They were flying out, and the rest of the guys were going to take the bus home,
Right.
And so they were at the hotel bar, and I was there drinking with what's his name? Ricky Medlock, and Ian, and everybody's just kind of hanging out, just like old pals, and Ian just like introducing me around, and it's like we're just buds, and
guys, this is my buddy Neeley. Neeley's out there helping Skinner keep the flag flying, boys.
Exactly. So that was just like weeks before they announced that he had cancer.
And he died like fat. Like
it was like in months. It was just a matter of months. I think they announced he had cancer like in January, and I think he passed away like in March or April.
Yeah, it was quick.
Mm-hmm.
It was quick. That cancer is a motherfucker. That's for sure.
Had that stomach cancer, and it took him out fast. Because when I saw him in December, I commented to him. I said, "Man, you're getting awful skinny." He was skinny anyway.
Yeah.
But when I saw him, I said, "Man, you're looking awful skinny." We've been touring pretty hard. I just haven't been eating as much as I should, and blah blah blah. And like I said, it was just weeks after. It was just like, Ian's been diagnosed with cancer, and he's going to fight the fight, and looking forward to seeing you on the road again. And of course, unfortunately, that did not come to pass.
And that sucked. He was a nice guy. He really was nice.
He was super nice. He had no reason to be as nice to you or I as he did.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, because we plugged that Evans Cap CD, he became best buds.
And the truth is I don't even think we plugged it because it was the guy from Lynyrd Skynyrd, or a guy from Lynyrd Skynyrd. I think we just liked the record.
Yeah, we liked the record because, number one, it wasn't like a country-sounding Southern rock type record. It was like a hard rock, almost a metal record.
Right.
And it kind of surprised us that they went that direction, because obviously 38 Special is kind of that Southern rock. Lynyrd Skynyrd's that Southern rock. Ian was in the Outlaws as well at one point. And they're that kind of that Southern rock stuff. So we kind of assumed that with Bobby Capps and Ean Evans hooking up, that they'd probably do something in that vein, and it definitely was not that at all.
Yeah, no, that's a great record if you can find it. I don't know if it's even available out there anywhere or what, but kick-ass record.
Yeah. So just kind of memories, just kind of fond memories of thinking about people that I've had the pleasure of gotten to know or meet along the way, and that one is definitely one I will never forget. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was good people, man. I miss that guy.
Yeah, me too. So just sad, very sad. But but I'm not here to be sad tonight. I'm here to be glad and be celebratory that I have an opportunity to behind this mic and hang out with you and all our CMS fans and friends who who support us every week, our little show. And for whatever reason, they keep tuning in and find us to be funny.
Yeah, even when they hate it, as we found out this week.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Everything can't be everything to everyone.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so there's bits and parts that people like. There's bits and parts people don't like.
Yeah. And you know, of course, we're talking about the Eric segment, but you know what? Eric's always going to be polarizing. You know, you either like Eric or you don't like Eric, and there's no middle. There's no Eric's okay. You know, is there? There's just not.
No, he's a different kind of cat. I mean, he definitely makes a lot of really, really, really obscure references. Mm-hmm. But if you're kind of up on things and you kind of have a little historical background or knowledge and stuff, you'll get his references. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they are out of the blue and they do come off, you know, out of left field. But if you are paying attention, he's a bizarre one. He's a smart guy. He's well traveled. He's been around. He's traveled the world. He, you know, does a lot of things outside of his heavy metal music, obviously. But you know, the guy's funny. My nephew thought the segment was funny. He told me, he said, "That Eric," he says, he's a wild one, man. He always makes me laugh.
No, he definitely is. You know, I mean, sometimes he wears on me after like 45 minutes or so. Yeah, because there's only so much following I can do. But you know, he definitely. You know, as I told everybody that sent me messages this week complaining about Eric, don't ever have him on again. This and that. I was like, as long as he entertains me and you, he's going to be on. So deal with it. And he entertains me and you.
Yeah, he comes on twice a year, maybe.
Yeah, and he entertains me and you. Yeah, he could come on every week, and if he entertains me and you, he'll be on.
Yeah,
we're not taking show clips or show cues from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we're going to do what we want to do.
Yeah, pal.
So fuck off!
Yeah. So, anyway, what's been going on with you? I didn't really speak to you much this week.
That would be because for the first time in a really long time, my head was down and I just was working. You know, nothing. I don't think I ventured out at all. I think I was so scared from the DWI thing last week that I just hibernated. You know,
yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah. No, I just worked a lot all week and, you know, was getting a lot of churn. I'm trying in my Aiken IT world, you're either getting paid all at once or in between where you have to do the work. Like I either have contracts or I have money coming in and I can rest for a week. Well, right now I'm right smack in the middle of got to do the work, you know, to get the money, and I have a bunch of money that's out there, you know, waiting for me to finish jobs. So this week was one of those where the headphones were on, and I just, you know, bore down and just attacked work this week. So yeah, that was it. I didn't have any calls, nothing. Didn't even really watch a lot of TV other than today. I just kind of did my shit.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I've been, you know, it's only the end of the second week of the month, and I've already surpassed my monthly sales goal by twice.
Well, you should just kick back, come back September 1st.
Seriously. So I am leaving. I am taking a few days off at the end of this week. I am going over to the Pittsburgh area Thursday, Friday, and part of Saturday. Then I'll be at your place Saturday next week. So, yeah, I'm gonna venture out a little bit. It's actually only the second time I've traveled this year since January, since NAMM.
That's crazy for you.
Yeah, I haven't had any reason to go anywhere or do anything. I mean, it just hasn't been anything that has really enticed me to want to go anywhere. I mean, It's just like, nothing really happening, but my fall looks like it's going to be kind of busy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got some Doc and shit coming up. You've got some Tom Kiefer shit coming up. You've got some
wedding shit coming up.
Yeah, you've got that, the show, Cleon show coming up.
Yep.
Got a lot coming up in the fall.
And I'm actually looking into maybe going to a Steeler game before the weather gets too cold.
Okay. Where, in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Look at you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna enjoy it before the snow flies. I'm gonna try to get it all in before the snow flies because I absolutely hate winter. But being that I haven't really done anything yet this summer, I'm gonna get it all into the fall months.
Right.
So I'm gonna catch a Pirate game next Friday, maybe catch a Steeler game in September or maybe in October. I'm not really sure, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Sure. Well, sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
All I have coming up is I have Hall & Oates on Wednesday.
Oh, look at you. See that? I've never seen them live. I know you have on several occasions, and I know you tell that story about, getting to sit on the side of the stage and all that good stuff. But, I'm a fan. I like Hall & Oates. I do like them. I remember hearing Sarah Smile was the first time that I heard them way back in the mid 70s, as a young guy. But, until they blossomed in their popularity into the late 70s. And of course they kind of dominated the 80s.
Right. I still remember riding my bike when I was probably 9 years old or whatever and singing Rich Girl. And I was so excited because I was saying bitch. I was all happy that I was saying a cuss word. I was like, it's a bitch, girl.
Right.
I said the word.
Yeah.
I was so excited to swear.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. You should bring that up about the first time you hear a swear word as a kid, as far as music is concerned.
Right.
My first one was Ass by Blondie.
Okay.
When they were singing Heart of Glass.
Yeah.
What was that, 70? What was that, 79?
Somewhere in there.
77, 79, somewhere around there. And she was singing, about being a pain in the ass.
Right.
So it's just like you're singing this song. It's like something about love being a pain in the ass.
Turns out love, it's pain in the ass.
Exactly.
Seem like
it's like, oh, wow, the Blondie just said pain in the ass. Holy shit.
I'm going to sing that over and over.
But that just goes to show you the innocence of how things used to be, as that just did not fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Back then.
Now you're not even moved if you see midget porn fucking a sheep or something.
Exactly.
Now it's like, whatever. It's just a sheep and the person's the same size. What's the difference?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, we started out going, oh, ass. Oh, jeez. How nuts.
I remember being like in, I don't know, second grade, second grade, somewhere around there. And one of the bad things to do unintentionally or intentionally is to hold your tongue. And so you'd reach in and hold your tongue. Now say apple.
Yeah. Apple.
Apple. That's the funniest thing.
Yeah. And then making the word hell on your phone.
On your calculator.
Your calculator, yeah, your phone. On your calculator, or the word boobs.
Yeah.
No, you were like, oh, I'm so bad. I wrote boobs on my calculator.
Yeah. Turn your calculator up and put a 4, a 3, and 2 7s.
Yeah. HE double hockey sticks.
Woo! Look out!
Look what I just did. 80085. Ah, boobs.
That's so funny.
So dumb.
Just was spelling out dirty words on your calculator.
Well, it just goes to prove what has come to fruition. If you invent anything, eventually it leads towards sex.
Of course.
Anything that is invented will find its way to have a sexual component.
Well, isn't that why they call it the original sin?
Oh yeah, because everything is related to it.
Yeah, of
everything.
course.
There's nothing that's been invented. I would say there's nothing that's been invented that doesn't have sex somehow related to it.
Right.
Nothing. Somehow there's got to be a way that a carburetor has to do with sex.
Well, there is. The carburetor goes on that car that you're trying to impress that girl you're trying to get some pussy from.
True. But I'll bet you if you go to Pornhub and type in low job carburetor, you'll find one.
Right.
Or somebody sucking on a tailpipe or something. You'll find something.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a million rock stars out there who have given interviews over the decades that have said, well, the reason I got into a band was because of girls.
Yeah, of course.
You know, the only reason I wanted to be a musician was because of girls.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to be them now, would you?
No, not really, but that's the motivator right there.
Mm-hmm. Jesus, now you don't know what's getting on your bus, whether it's a guy, a girl, a fucking toaster. You have no idea what you're fucking letting on your bus to suck your cock now.
Does anybody use buses anymore?
Well, just young bands, I guess, probably do.
Yeah, because a lot of bands, they just don't even use buses anymore. Everybody just flies now.
Yeah, they just fly in, do their shit, and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I can't remember anybody that I know that actually tours on a bus.
Well, all our bands are older, and they don't tour. They just do fly-in shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to imagine the younger bands, the whatever, Greta Van Fleet or whatever, that they have like a bus, don't you think?
It's hard. They may not. I don't know. I guess it just depends on what kind of money that they're pulling down to be able to pay for the bus.
Yeah, I got to think like Slash has a bus when he's doing Conspirator shows.
Who knows?
I can't imagine that he's flying all those guys into every city, and the city routing is fairly close, so it'd be way expensive to fly everybody from place to place.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting though. But
yes, just Tom Kiefer does buses.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, he owns his own bus, I think. Yeah, it's his own bus.
Right. By the way, did you listen to that record? Kiefer record?
I haven't got a chance. I got it right here on the desktop, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
Don't play any of it.
Well, I know. Yeah, I saw your little note.
I was given very specific instructions that we can play The Death of Me, and that's it.
Yeah.
But what a great record.
Well, how long has it been in the making? I mean, when was the last one he put out? What was it, like 6 years ago?
Yeah, and that record wasn't very good, though. That whatever that thing was called, I didn't like that. Did you?
It was mediocre. It didn't really grab me as like a high energy record.
This is a good record. It's definitely like Heartbreak Station meets Long Cold Winter, but a little more Hard Cold Winter than Heartbreak Station-ish.
Yeah.
It has some of that countrified element a little bit, but it's definitely a solid record from Kiefer. I was very, very surprised at how good it was, because I honestly was expecting more of the same from that shitty record.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, whoever came up with the concept for the video for The Death of Me, about all of his surgeries and all of his setbacks and lawsuits and this and that affected his career, since Cinderella or during Cinderella.
Right.
I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah, it was good. It's a good video. It's a good song.
It is a good song.
I like that tune. It's a good one. But yeah, he's he sounds good. We're gonna have him on the show here shortly. I've already been confirmed to do an interview. It's just trying to get waiting for him to be ready to do his 2 days of interviews. So we will be having Tom on the show here very shortly. Yeah,
that singing style he has. I mean, obviously, if you watch the video for Death of Me, how many surgeries has he had on his voice? Like 7?
Yeah, he's had a bunch for polyps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And didn't he blow his vocal cords twice?
Yeah, he did that. I remember that one tour. What was it? It was like Warrant, Cinderella, Rat.
Right.
And I can't remember what it was. It was gonna be a pretty big, I think it was Lynch Mob.
Right.
And just like days before the tour, during rehearsals, he blew his vocal cords out and that whole tour got scrapped.
Yep, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I've seen Tom and I've seen Cinderella perform many times, and as the band Cinderella, they always put on a fantastic show. And I've seen Tom solo, I think 3 times, and boys, he doesn't slow down. And the thing about Tom, especially when he's out on stage, no matter how hot it is outside, that guy is decked out in his leather jacket and his big boots and his leather pants, and just rocking that guitar and sweating his ass off. It's just like, dude.
I think he likes having the pictures of him like he's given everything he's got, so he's soaking wet. Because every photo of him live is soaking wet.
Well, he sweats his ass off because a couple years ago, when Dokken played with him solo at the Arcada Theater, the air conditioning was broke in the building. And, I stood side stage and watched him, and he was slinging sweat all over the fucking place. I mean, he was but he was wearing his leather jacket and had his long black shirt on and his boots and pants and the whole thing. And it was just like, Jesus Christ, Tom.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, dude, you could wear a t-shirt once.
But he was up there just dripping off the stage.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to. I've not seen him solo. I've seen Cinderella 10 times or whatever. I mean, Cinderella was one of those bands that when they opened for a lot of good bands, but then when they were big enough to be a headliner, they always had good openers too. So it was always a good ticket.
Yeah.
Every time Cinderella played, no matter what it was always like a lineup of solid bands. It was never Cinderella and two bands that you've never heard of that sound like Lamb of God. It was always like bands that made sense. And so I saw Cinderella a shit ton of times, back in the 80s and early 90s. But I did not go. I really did not like that solo record at all. And I didn't know what he was going to play, but I just was like, ugh, no, I'm not going to go see 8 of those songs played. Fuck that.
Well, when the 90s hit, when it was like 90, I want to think it was like 94, somewhere around there, Cinderella was out on tour. I think they were touring for Still Climbing.
Yeah.
And, I went over to Youngstown, of all places, to see him play at this place called Hammerjacks. And it was like a basement bar. It was like they were playing down in this basement. Right. And it was just like, wow, how far have they fallen, at this point? And right after that time, they took a hiatus. They went on hiatus. Actually, Fred Corey was not in the band at the time because he was working with Stephen Pearcy in Arcade.
Right.
Yeah, so they had some guy, I can't remember, his last name was Brinker, I think. He was playing drums for them.
Right.
But they were playing in this little basement dive bar in Youngstown, of all places. I always felt bad for them. Put on a great show.
Yeah.
But, it was kind of sad to see that. And they took a few years off, and then they came back. They reformed and came back, and they were playing at the Odeon.
Right.
And I was hanging out with them after the show. It was just me and, at the time, Kelly and just a couple other people hanging out after the show at the bar with the guys. But another fantastic show. It was Unfinished Business Tour. That's what it was. I think that was like 97 or 98, somewhere around there. I believe it was a Sunday night, if I'm not mistaken.
That's when they were teasing that they were going to have a new album.
Well, they were signed to John Kolodner's Portrait Records.
Right.
And that's when Damn Yankees was signed to them. Rat was signed to that. Cinderella was signed. And apparently the music from both Damn Yankees and Cinderella, as far as John Kolodner was concerned, just didn't cut it.
Right. So he shelved them.
They shelved them, yeah. And the only band that got to release, actually the only 2 bands that got to release anything was Great White, I think was Can't Get There From Here, and the Rat record.
Yeah. Yeah, that whatever that, what was that called? That label?
Portrait,
yeah. That did not go anywhere. It seemed like it was a great idea, and I guess CMC and Spitfire kind of took that idea, now Frontiers, but the original idea of taking these old bands and reconstituting them, boy, that did not take off for them at all.
Well, they were trying. John Kolodner was trying to resurrect that whole era, and it just didn't work. And it wasn't long after that he decided he was going to finally call it a day and kind of retire.
Right.
But
what's interesting is that he thought that the Rat record was good enough to put out.
Well, because had outside writers, and he was trying to more or less make them a more mainstream, radio friendly, whatever was going on at that time.
Yeah, that album not so good.
Not so good. It wasn't a true Rat record, and the Great White record was okay. It had more of a slick produce. It wasn't as gritty.
Right.
It was okay. It was just forgettable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was. It just came. It went. Goodbye. See ya.
So yeah, it just wasn't very. It was unfortunate that it just didn't quite work out. And then as if you watch, like I said again, if you watch the video for The Death of Me, Cinderella had written a bunch of songs to be the next Cinderella record, and it got shelved. They didn't feel it was good enough, and so once the songs were written and submitted, they didn't have control over them anymore, and so they go, well, okay, well let us just buy them back, and for whatever reason they wouldn't let them have them back.
Yeah, they somehow thought that maybe with time they'd come back or something.
I don't know what it was, but they just wouldn't let them have it, and then the same way with Damn Yankees, I guess Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw, they released a few of those songs on their solo releases.
Yeah, Nugent did too.
Yeah.
They all three took one or two songs and spread them out.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
interesting.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, if you're not a hardcore, or you don't necessarily follow, the music news that closely or whatever, this may be new stuff for you. Other people, we heard that before, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But it's interesting the changes that have taken place over the last couple of decades, and those who are still out there doing it. And obviously Tom Kiefer, he hasn't lost his fire at all.
No.
So
he still sounds good. I mean, that record sounds great. He sounds fantastic.
And as sad as it might be, since he's not under the Cinderella moniker, you could still hear all the Cinderella songs, and they sound just as good with the Tom Kiefer band.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to those other guys, but I don't think that any of those guys were there's no Eddie Van Halen in those three.
Well, Tom is the guy. I mean, he writes the music, he plays the leads, he sings the songs.
Right.
So he's kind of the Blackie Lawless of Cinderella.
Right, or the Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, the Dave Mustaine of Cinderella. Yeah, he's the main focal guy and does the majority of the work.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing him. When are we seeing him? 2 months?
Yeah,
October.
Yeah.
19th. October 19th. We're seeing him. That'll be fun, and Enough's Enough is on that show, so I'm sure we'll be hanging out with Chip.
My good friend Chip.
Hey, buddy, want to get high?
Get high on a new thing.
When he offers that this time, I'm going to be like, yes, sir, I do.
Yeah, I got a wedding that day, and then since we're not going to do the show live that night, we'll be doing that show.
Yes, we'll be hanging out there getting high on the new thing, and then singing our night songs, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Billy's opening that show too, so it's all people we know.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice little homecoming.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So I'm curious. Different topic. I'm gonna hard shift. Did you happen to watch Mindhunter?
I haven't watched it yet. I did see the little clip.
Yeah.
But as far as actually watching the show, no, I have not watched the show.
Dude, I was so fucking excited to see my fucking...
Oh, well, why not? I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
Dude, I could not be more excited. And literally, it launched, and instead of watching anything, I took it, I watched it on my Apple TV, which has the best scrolling of all my devices, and I just scrolled through every episode slowly looking for those fucking machines. And it took forever because my arcade games were not in the show until episode 8.
Right.
So I had to go through 8 hours of material before I found the pinball machines or the arcade games, but it was definitely cool, man. I actually emailed back and forth with the producer guy yesterday, just saying, "Oh, dude, that was so cool." And he was like, thanks. It was so cool working with you guys, and if we need more for the next season, we'll definitely hit you up and blah, blah, blah.
So they took them over to the Century 3 Mall. Is that where they took them?
They did.
Then they brought them all back?
Yeah, they brought them all back a month later. Gave me a fat check to do it.
Nice.
I was like, fuck yeah, Mindhunter's my favorite show ever now.
Look at my machines making a cameo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and don't think I'm not promoting it with Pinball PA. And believe me, the post today on all the social media for Pinball PA was, do you want to play the machines that are featured in Mindhunter?
Yeah.
Come on out today.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll let you.
Might as well take advantage of it while you can.
Might as well, yeah. And actually, it looks like the newspaper's going to do a little story about our shit being featured and in the show. And, I'm just, it's, I said to somebody the other day, or today actually, I've literally become the ghetto Howard Stern. I'm the poor man's prince of all media, I guess, because I have the books. Obviously, we do radio. We have the TV component. Now I've got a Netflix thing, and now I'm going to be in Nalbandian's movie.
Yeah, there you go.
I really am the poor man's the poor man's Howard Stern at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, you work at it all these decades, as you might as well get a little something out of it.
Exactly. I'm Howard Stern without any of the money.
Well, as I always say, notoriety does not equal wealth.
Ain't that the truth?
Fame does not necessarily equal wealth.
No, it definitely does not. But definitely exciting to have my little arcade venture end up in a movie. That's pretty fucking sweet.
Well, that is true. So yeah, good on you.
Yep.
But that whole area down there has, over the last, I'm going to say over the last 15 years or so, they're doing a lot more movies down there. I mean, you would not believe the number of movies that are or TV shows and things that are filmed in the Pittsburgh area.
Oh yeah, lots of it. And, they shot a good part of Mindhunter this season of Mindhunter. One town over from where my place is. It's a town called Ambridge.
Yeah, Ambridge. When I used to drive a truck, I used to pick up stuff out of Ambridge.
Well, Ambridge is a perfect spot to shoot movies from because it looks like it's still 1973 there, and it's a real shithole for a show like Mindhunter, and it literally is the perfect backdrop to serial killing.
Yeah.
It just looks like somewhere where you would want to be serial killed. It looks just desolate and awful. And I'm like, man, this is like the perfect place for them to be shooting. And it's funny because I watched the first 3 episodes after I found my pinball shit. And I watched the first 3 episodes today or yesterday, last night, 2 last night, 1 today. And I recognize, they obviously changed the signs and whatever, but I recognize that where a lot of this shit is shot because I've been down there a lot, with when I was down there building Pinball PA. So, I spent a good amount of time in Ambridge, and it's like, wow, look at this. Here's fucking High Street. Here's Main Street.
Yeah.
It's just, it's cool to have like a little connection to it, For me, it's cooler. Like I actually watched here in Cleveland. I was working in a building on Huron Road when they were shooting Spider-Man, and they had the back of our building was closed off, so you couldn't, we weren't allowed to go out the back doors, and because they were shooting Spider-Man, but we got to watch from our windows. We got to watch kind of them shooting Spider-Man. But I never had that kind of like connection to Spider-Man. I watched the movie and I saw the scenes and I saw our building and I was like, whatever, who cares? It's fucking Spider-Man. But for this, where I actually had, contracts and whatever, signed, and, I met with people from the Mindhunter series and whatnot. It was like, man, this is fucking cool.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I'm still a kid. That's what it really comes down to is, at this point, I'm 50 fucking years old. I should not be like, oh, look at my shiny button, but I really am. I'm watching the Mindhunter, and I was just fucking grinning ear to ear. I must have watched that 30 seconds of my video games in the episode. I must have watched it 100 times.
Yeah, that's funny.
Because I'm still just a child when it comes to that shit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and speaking of a similar thing, I discovered a channel on YouTube. It's some guy. He's a big fan of the stunt, the Daredevil stuff, mostly Evel Knievel, Robbie Knievel, people like that. And I think I sent the link to you about the Caesar's Palace jump.
Yeah.
And I was there, and that's when I got to meet Evil and Robbie at the party afterwards that I wasn't supposed to be at. I didn't have an invite. I just snuck in there. It was part of it, but they did a really good job at editing that down to where it was kind of fun to watch it. I don't know if you watched it or not, but
I did watch it. But, it was good.
But being there, just kind of reliving that for me, and that whole day was just just was a whirlwind. And seeing it now, that was 98,
right?
Or not 98? It was 89. I got that transposed there, a little dyslexia. Back in 89, April 14th of 89. So here we are, 30 years later. 30 freaking years later.
Right.
It's like, man, where did the time go?
I know. It just goes so fucking fast.
So, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to, and one of the things I like too, since, I'm a big fan of going to Pittsburgh is, if you ever watched the first Jack Reacher movie.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like I've parked in the parking deck where the gunman, the shooter, the sniper up there near the beginning of the movie. If I can, I always park my car in the parking spot where the van was at. Because I go up there and I go, there's the parking spot. I'll just park my car there.
It's open. That's my spot.
So I've actually parked in that space twice.
That's funny.
Yep.
Is it marked or not even?
It's not marked or anything. I just know where it is.
Right.
It's just because the parking, that actual parking garage, I stay at the Wyndham on the Point.
Right.
So if their valet is full, they have you park around the corner in that parking garage.
Right.
And so that's where I park my car, is in that parking garage over there.
Yeah.
So
what was it? I don't want to, let me rephrase so I don't ask a really bad what was it like question. How did you feel when you first saw yourself in Nalbandian's movie?
It was definitely interesting. It was just like, oh, there I am. It was just like, okay.
Did you grade yourself? Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. You critique yourself. You don't want to stammer or stutter too much, or you don't want to repeat yourself, or you kind of want to be succinct in what you're saying.
Right.
And those are the kind of things that I look for. It's like, did I repeat myself at all? Did I stammer? Did I stutter? Could I get my thoughts together quick enough?
Right.
Did I make my point? Though, yeah, you definitely think about those things.
No, that's Bob telling us last week that he used like 10 clips of me in the new one that's coming. I was excited when he said it, and then as the week went on, I was like, "Oh my God, what did he fucking use?" And I hope I didn't. And I still have the actual video, the original that our friend Omam, because our friend Omam did the recording for me in his basement.
Right.
Because wait till you see it. His basement is like Motorhead Central. There was a reason I drove all the way to Galleon to do it, and it was because you've never been to his place.
No.
His basement is rock and roll headquarters.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the cutout piece of steel of the Motorhead logo in the back of his bar, and he's got all kinds of Deep Purple shit and Motorhead and all those lot of American Dog stuff. He's got the Motorhead head, like the steel actual head.
Yeah.
On a post. It's the most metal place I think I've ever been in my life. And it was the perfect I actually filmed my segments standing behind his bar, drinking beers with Omam, and and just standing behind this Motorhead backdrop. It was fucking very cool. It looks really cool.
Well, that's good. I mean, having a good backdrop is good. I mean, you and I both, especially since we're doing this little TV component,
yeah,
having a good backdrop is important because, if you're in a room and it looks like your living room and, you see the kitchen in the background and stuff, it's just like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, how much better is it now that I figured out green screen?
Well, I mean, it looks awesome, especially when you have your bar set up behind you.
Exactly.
I know you got several different backdrops that you use and stuff, but I like the bar because people ask me, it's like, man, Chris has sure got a big collection back there.
Yeah, he's a real lush.
Yeah, but I have had several people tell me that they're jealous of your booze collection.
Oh, as they should be.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's a chroma key. What's a chroma key? Never mind.
Never mind. He does. He just has a lot of drinks.
Yeah. But
he owns a bar too.
But when you put your booze collection behind you as your backdrop,
right?
It kind of blends in with my CD shelves back here.
It does. It looks good.
Yeah, so I always like that one. I like the other ones you use too, but that one definitely is, has the attitude.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm still trying to find more. I want to have a bunch of different. I want to have some silly ones too, for when we're doing like should we ever do a Judge Aiken again, which I think we may have enough stories to do one here pretty soon.
Yeah, you know what? I've been, and speaking of that, I actually been thinking about that because I have got what I need to do, and I've just been kind of lazy, is I wanted to accumulate several stories.
Right, sure.
And have them ready to go, and I just haven't done the prep work. So, yeah, you're right. It's time to do a Judge Aiken.
And when we do Judge Aiken next time, I'm definitely going to do a courtroom backdrop.
Yeah, that's great.
Makes sense. That will make sense, and that'll look awesome.
Do you have a courtroom backdrop, or are you looking for one?
I have one. I found one.
Okay.
I just haven't used it because we haven't done a Judge Aiken.
All right. Well, I'll make a concerted effort, and maybe we'll do a Judge Aiken next week.
I don't want to do it when you're here because...
Oh, no, I forgot about that. I'm going to be there next week. I mean, the next time we do a show like that, we'll have it.
Yeah, let's do that because I don't even know how we're going to do the video part of the show next week without it looking really fucking shitty.